Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. He told me we'd name the baby Elijah, that we were a family, that God forgave us. But now, I'm dead, and he's the one who killed me. He was a trusted man of God, a father, a husband, a leader behind bars. But his sins weren't just spiritual, they were deadly. Chaplain Eli Matthews, 47, was known across Georgia as a beacon of hope inside Stonebrook Correctional Facility. He wasn't just a religious figure. He was a lifeline. To inmates, he offered redemption. To guards, he offered peace. And to his church congregation, he was a godsend. Married with 3 kids, Pastor Matthews preached purity, loyalty, and forgiveness. But behind closed doors, he was living a life so hypocritical, it would cost someone everything. That someone was Andre Collier, 26, a young inmate with a troubled past. But an open heart, Andre was serving time for aggravated assault. But inside the prison walls, he became something else, the secret lover of the prison chaplain. Over the course of a year, Andre and Pastor Eli began an illicit relationship, one built on secrecy, power, and emotional manipulation. Love letters tucked into Bibles, long counseling sessions with no witnesses, and rumors, hushed but growing, among other inmates. Then came the shock. Andre filed a formal grievance, claiming he was pregnant, and that Chaplain Matthews was a father. He wrote, "He injected me with hormones. He said we could start a new life. But now he's pretending I don't exist. I'm scared. He's capable of anything." The prison dismissed it as delusional. There was no baby, they said, but Andre believed it or used it as leverage. 1 week later, Andre was found dead. Andre's body was discovered in the prison chapel. Strangled, mouth duct tape, and Bible pages forced into his throat. At first, it was ruled a suicide, until surveillance footage showed a 17-minute gap. The last person to enter the chapel before that gap? Chaplain Eli Matthews. Investigators found inconsistencies in the logbooks, missing footage, and erased counseling records. Then came the smoking gun. Inside Andre's vent, they found a hidden envelope. Inside it, love letters, a fake positive pregnancy test, and intimate photos of Eli in partial undress, praying shirtless at the altar. As police searched Chaplain Eli's office, they found vials of estradiol, a hormone used in transitioning, a burner phone with 327 messages exchanged with Andre, and a handwritten note. "Forgive me, Lord, but I can't lose everything over a lie." Still, Eli denied it all. He claimed the evidence was planted, the messages faked, the relationship invented by a manipulative inmate. But the DNA on a used condom found behind the altar matched both men. The case was explosive. The media swarmed. Eli's wife, Rebecca, was humiliated. His church dissolved overnight. But just as the trial was about to begin, a sealed envelope arrived at the desk of the prison warden. Inside the envelope was a birth certificate. Name, Elijah Collier Matthews. Born, March 18th, 2024. Location, unknown facility, name redacted. DNA sample, pending. Attached was a handwritten note, signed by someone calling themselves a C. "You wanted me gone, but my child still lives. Let's see how far you'll go to silence the truth." The envelope shook the investigation to its core. It included a birth certificate for Elijah Collier Matthews, a bloodstained onesie, and a note that read, "His life depends on silence, just like mine did." But here's the part that sent chills down the spines of prosecutors. The facility listed on the birth certificate didn't exist. The address was an abandoned women's clinic shut down in 2019. The attending physician was a name no one recognized. Yet, when detectives tested the swab attached to the certificate, the preliminary DNA test returned a 99.7% match to Andre Collier. Could a biological male inmate have carried a child? Experts weighed in. Andre had been receiving estradiol and progesterone, powerful hormones used in gender transition therapy. While biologically incapable of pregnancy without a uterus, Some trans inmates have smuggled in advanced experimental treatments, including black market embryo implants. It sounds impossible, said Dr. Miranda Hale, a forensic endocrinologist. But this isn't science fiction anymore. It's fringe science happening in the shadows. But was Andre part of such a program? Or was someone using his identity to create the illusion of a child, to destroy the pastor's life forever? Then came the second twist. A woman named Carmen Ellis, a former corrections nurse, was subpoenaed after prison records revealed she had once smuggled medical supplies, including hormone vials, into the chapel. When interrogated, she broke down sobbing. They were in love. I helped Andre because he believed in Eli more than anyone. He said they were going to raise the baby together. But Eli panicked once Andre started showing signs. He thought it would ruin everything. Even more shocking, Carmen confessed that she and Eli had been romantically involved before Andre, and she claimed she, too, had once been pregnant by the chaplain. That pregnancy, she said, ended in a mysterious miscarriage. Detectives finally obtained a court order to access Andre's medical file and ran a post-mortem analysis on preserved tissue samples. The results were jaw-dropping. Traces of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, the hormone produced during pregnancy, were present in Andre's blood. Ultrasound images recovered from a prison email server showed what appeared to be a fetal sac in his abdomen. Was it a surgically implanted embryo, a hoax, or something else entirely? Authorities now believed Andre may have undergone an unregulated black market implantation, possibly with Carmen's help. The child, known as Elijah Collier Matthews, was traced to a remote foster home in Louisiana, where a woman named Sister Maureen, a reclusive former nun, had allegedly been raising him under a fake identity. But by the time social workers arrived, the home was empty. No baby, no Sister Maureen. Just a burned crib, a Bible, and a note left behind. If Eli doesn't confess, more will disappear. As media coverage exploded and Eli Matthews remained behind bars in pretrial detention, an anonymous USB drive was mailed to the courthouse. The video file was titled, Elijah Deserves the Truth.mp4. In the grainy footage, Eli is seen, disheveled, sweaty, and crying, speaking directly to the camera. The screen goes black. End of file. Following the disturbing discovery of an abandoned foster home and a burned crib, the child known as Elijah Collier Matthews vanished without a trace. But a neighbor's security camera told a different story. At 3:14 a.m., two masked individuals were captured carrying a bundled figure wrapped in blankets from the home into an unmarked white van. They were careful, coordinated. One wore what appeared to be a nun's habit. Authorities now believe this wasn't a panicked disappearance. It was a planned extraction. FBI agents investigating the case uncovered a clandestine underground network nicknamed The Veil, originally believed to be a religious outreach group for LGBTQ+ youth. The Veil operated under a different mission, protecting miracle children born from experimental pregnancies involving incarcerated trans individuals and black market surrogacy. One whistleblower claimed, some of these kids are seen as symbols, holy, divine, even prophetic. The church wants them gone. The Veil wants them hidden. Elijah wasn't the only child they'd moved. He may have been the most important. Back in prison, Chaplain Eli Matthews was growing more erratic. He requested to speak with Andre's mother, but she refused. So instead, he did something chilling. He recorded a second confession. This one meant for Elijah. You're out there, somewhere. I know you are. And I hope one day you'll understand why I did what I did. I loved your father, but the world wouldn't let us live in peace. So I chose silence over salvation. He never sent the message, but someone else did. 2 days later, Andre's mother received it anonymously, with GPS coordinates attached. The location pointed to an abandoned Catholic boarding school in Alabama, once rated for child abuse in the 90s. It had been left to rot. When agents entered the site, they found cribs, medical equipment, a wall covered in newspaper articles about trans miracles, and a disturbing hand-painted sign, "The son of sin must never speak." In one room, a drawing was left behind, a crude sketch of a little boy holding hands with two figures, one in a nun's robe, the other in a clerical collar. Written in crayon, "My name is Elijah," but there was no child, only a hidden tunnel and tire tracks. A leaked Vatican memo, obtained through a whistleblower, revealed that Eli Matthews had been under investigation by his church for over 5 years. The reason? Not just his behavior in prison, but rumors that he was harboring a child created in violation of divine law. The memo warned of a dangerous symbolic precedent if Elijah ever came forward. It even referenced a contingency protocol, though details were redacted. Was the church trying to silence Elijah permanently? Was the veil trying to save him? And where was he now? Just when the investigation hit a wall, a stunning discovery emerged. A blood sample from the burned foster home was sent to a private lab. The DNA results came back with a partial match to Andre Collier and a second match to Eli Matthews. But there was a third contributor to the child's DNA. And that third profile? It matched Carmen Ellis, the former prison nurse, and Eli's ex-lover. The DNA from the burned foster home shocked forensic analysts. The child had genetic markers from 3 adults: Andre Collier, the murdered inmate; Pastor Eli Matthews, the accused killer; Carmen Ellis, the former prison nurse and ex-lover of Eli. Experts were baffled. How could a child share DNA from 3 people? The answer wasn't natural. It was scientific manipulation. Carmen Ellis was arrested trying to cross into Mexico with forged documents. During interrogation, she cracked. She confessed that during her time as a nurse at Stoneburg, she was approached by a shadowy biotech group connected to an underground fertility clinic in New Orleans. They were experimenting with multiplex parentage, using synthetic wombs and gene editing tech to create children from multiple donors. Carmen admitted that Andre volunteered, believing it would help him transition and give him a family. Eli allegedly approved it, on the condition his name never be revealed. But Carmen had her own motive. "I gave them my eggs," she said, "because I wanted to be a part of that child too. I wanted Eli to finally choose me." Hidden in Carmen's storage unit was a signed contract between her and the biotech group. 1 embryo, 3 genetic donors. Birth to occur via artificial uterine implantation. Child to be raised under strict secrecy. No contact with Eli Matthews post-birth. It wasn't just unethical. It was highly illegal. The program, called Project Vessel, had been banned after one of its trial children died from multi-gene rejection at age 2. Now the child they created, Elijah Collier Matthews, was the only known surviving product of the project. And someone wanted him gone. In Carmen's burner phone, investigators found encrypted text that referenced a chilling document. Confirmed, E. Collier, terminated. Next, C. Ellis, then Yem. All must be erased before Phase 2. The file was titled Vessel Cleanup. It was clear. Someone was systematically eliminating everyone connected to Elijah's creation. Andre, dead. Carmen, almost taken before her arrest. And Eli, still alive, but not for long. On June 2nd, 2025, Pastor Eli Matthews was found in his cell, beaten nearly to death. A crude message had been carved into his cell wall with a fork. "The child isn't yours to claim." Eli survived, but when asked who attacked him, he whispered one name: Maureen. Sister Maureen, the reclusive nun, the last person to be seen with Elijah before he vanished. And she wasn't working alone. A confidential Vatican report, leaked to press, revealed a rogue religious sect called the Silent Order, believed to operate worldwide in eradicating blasphemous births created by science and sin. The order is rumored to operate out of former orphanages and convents, maintain child retrieval teams trained in combat and espionage, believe that the blood of unnatural children carries the final curse. Their current target, Elijah Collier Matthews. And at the bottom of the document, one final chilling line: "The child is not the end of the story. He is the beginning of the war." The Silent Order is more than just a rumor. It's an ancient Catholic offshoot, a faction of religious extremists who believe scientific tampering with creation is heresy punishable by death. Operating out of decommissioned convents, they were originally formed during the late 1800s to cleanse orphanages of demonic births. Disbanded officially in 1953, they've quietly resurfaced in modern times, targeting surrogates, transgender parents, and biotech labs rumored to create non-divine offspring. And they don't just prey, they kill. Recovered footage from an abandoned monastery in Romania, allegedly a training site for silent order recruits, shows children in nun habits handling firearms, sermons on gene blasphemy, wall slogans like, "The womb is not a weapon," but the most disturbing part, photos of Elijah Collier Matthews, pinned to a corkboard marked with a red X. Underneath, Target 013, the three-blooded. This wasn't just religious paranoia. This was a strategic extermination mission. Interpol now believed that the abduction of Elijah was not a kidnapping, but a recovery. Witnesses claimed to see a group of women in dark habits traveling across state lines in a black van, smuggling someone wrapped in white cloth under armed guard. GPS pings from a burner phone connected to Sister Maureen placed her in Mississippi 3 days after the foster home fire, then Tennessee, then she vanished off the grid in Kentucky. But the FBI traced a purchase, a large quantity of infant formula and surgical gauze, made in cash at a rural pharmacy in eastern Kentucky. Was Elijah still alive? And if so, was he being prepared or punished? In a locked drawer at Carmen Ellis's apartment, agents found a journal labeled Elijah's Book. Inside were entries, written as if from the unborn child's point of view. But the last few pages weren't Carmen's handwriting. They were Andre's. He is the bridge between all three of us, Eli, Carmen, and me. Not a mistake. A message. If he speaks, they'll burn the whole world to silence him. If he lives, the prophecy comes true. But what prophecy? The answer may lie in the Silent Order's sacred doctrine, recovered from a seized safe house. Translated from Latin, the Silent Order's doctrine foretells a child born from three bloods, one male, one female, one in between, shall open the door between flesh and fire. His cry shall split the veil, and the blasphemers will rise unless he is unspoken. Some believe the order sees Elijah as an omen. Others believe they fear him because he's living proof that God isn't the only one who can create life anymore. And now, according to encrypted messages between order members, they are preparing for something they call the final sacrament. A decrypted message reveals a chilling plan. Vessel 013 to be delivered July 7th, 3 a.m. Coordinates: 38.4284 degrees north, 83.5076 degrees west. That's an abandoned religious asylum in Kentucky, long rumored to have been used by cults in the past. A drone was flown over the site. In the courtyard, arranged in stones, was a single word: confess. The coordinates led to Hallow Glen, a long-abandoned religious asylum in Kentucky, closed after a 1979 abuse scandal. On July 2nd, 2025, just after midnight, an undercover FBI surveillance drone captured cloaked figures entering the facility. They carried a white cloth bundle resembling a swaddled child, crates of medical equipment, torches and ancient-looking books, and a crucifix made of surgical tubing and human hair. In the center of the courtyard, a ritual circle had been carved into dirt, 12 feet wide. What was about to happen wasn't just murder. It was a rite. According to the Silent Order's recovered doctrine, the final sacrament is their highest form of atonement, a ceremony meant to purify what they call unnatural vessels. The ritual includes sedation of the child, a bloodletting ceremony to symbolically return the stolen soul, and a fire cleansing, ritual immolation in a sanctified cradle. The child, Elijah, was to be sent back to God before he could speak blasphemy into the world. But this wasn't just belief. It was a pre-planned military-grade operation cloaked in spiritual extremism. On July 7th at 2:47 a.m., a tactical unit made its move. 14 federal agents, backed by ATF and Interpol, stormed Hallow Glen. Shots were fired. 2 Silent Order members detonated suicide vests in the basement. 4 agents were injured. 1 nun in a blood-soaked robe escaped through the underground catacombs. In the chaos, a team breached the inner chapel. There, Strapped to a steel altar under candlelight was Elijah Collier Matthews, barely breathing, needles in both arms, and a page from the Bible stapled to his chest with one word scrawled in red. Unmade, Elijah was airlifted to a secure medical facility under federal guard. He was unconscious for 3 days. Doctors confirmed he'd been sedated with ketamine, injected with high doses of phenobarbital, and subjected to genetic blood filtration, a terrifying procedure designed to erase modified DNA. But Elijah survived. The doctors confirmed it. He still carried the DNA of all 3 parents, Andre, Eli, and Carmen. And then on the 4th day, he spoke. One word, over and over. Dada. Behind bars, Pastor Eli Matthews was informed that Elijah was alive. When told his son had spoken, he collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. Then he whispered, "He remembers me." But later that night, Eli was found hanging in his cell, dead. Next to his body was a note written in blood. "One cannot serve God and science. I was wrong to try." The authorities ruled it a suicide, but the guards on duty swore Eli wasn't alone that night. A figure in black was seen entering the block, but never seen leaving. 1 week later, an anonymous package was delivered to the federal safe house where Elijah was recovering. Inside, a rosary made of teeth, a vial labeled 003, Sin-Eater, and a flash drive titled Project The Others. On the drive, photos of 8 children, all marked with dates of birth and names. One girl's name was Amaria Collier Matthews, born just 6 months before Elijah. DNA status, pending. The flash drive recovered from the rosary box contained a classified folder titled Project The Others. Inside, dossiers on 8 children, lab scans, genetic blueprints, DNA profiles with 3 parent markers, names, photos, and statuses. Of the 8, 3 were confirmed dead, 2 were missing. 1 was in institutional care under a false identity. One girl, Amaria Collier Matthews, was marked, reactivated, and then there was the final entry. Elijah, status, escape termination, flag for retrieval, directive, recover or neutralize. Through subpoenas and whistleblower testimony, the FBI traced the origin of Project The Others to a now-defunct fertility lab known as Vita Nova Industries, a shell company with indirect ties to church-funded research initiatives and pharmaceutical conglomerates. Their mission? To prove that spiritual influence and synthetic biology could coexist, to build children not born of sin, but of correction. Each child was created through combinations of a spiritual seed donor, priest, pastor, nun, a biological host, trans or intersex subject, and an obedient vessel, nurse, surrogate, or artificial womb. They weren't trying to play God, one anonymous scientist said. They were trying to replace him. Amaria Collier Matthews, confirmed to be Elijah's half-sister, was believed to be raised in isolation in a monastery-turned lab in Nova Scotia. Recent satellite footage showed signs of life. A black SUV, security fencing, armed patrols. But inside the folder was something chilling, a video log. In it, Amaria, barely 3 years old, sits in a room speaking fluent Latin. Her eyes never blink. Her voice is flat. "I know who I am. I was born from purpose, and I will not be erased." The final 3 seconds of the video freeze and distort, and Amaria looks directly into the camera and whispers, "They're coming for Elijah." Just as the FBI moved to secure Elijah under permanent protection, a second flash attack was launched, this time against a lab in Montana where another had reportedly been hidden under witness protection. Everyone inside was slaughtered. On the walls, written in lamb's blood, "Let the womb close forever." Interpol now believes the Silent Order has reorganized under new leadership, and its mission is no longer just elimination, it's eradication, a global cleansing of all engineered children, with Elijah at the top of the list. In a secure underground facility, Elijah was relocated to a classified protective compound known only as Safe House 09. Their behavioral specialists worked with him, but something changed. Elijah began drawing symbols no one could identify. He spoke to shadows. And on his 6th day in isolation, he made a chilling announcement. And Maria is not the only one awake. The others are remembering now. He paused, then said, "You should have let me burn." Elijah vanished from Safe House 09 the night before his 7th day. No breach, no security alert, no sign of escape. But in the observation room, written on the wall in what appeared to be crayon mixed with blood, was a single phrase: "We were never yours to keep." The final scene fades in, a grainy security cam feed. Location: unknown rural orphanage. A group of 6 children standing in a circle, holding hands, singing in a language no one recognizes. At the center, a small child with dark eyes. Elijah. The others were born in silence, raised in shadows, hunted in darkness. And now, they remember everything. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.